Welcome back, everybody. Should you buy a Mahindra tractor or not? Let's talk about it. So let's talk about the Mahindra tractor for a minute. The one I have is a 4540. So I'm going to talk about this one and the differences between the 4540 and the 4550. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. I have a lot of Mahindra videos on here. We're just Life on a Hobby Farm. We'd love for you to click that subscribe and follow along with us. But let's talk about the tractor. The 4540. The differences between the 4540 are not very many. The 4540 has 31 horsepower out of the PTO. The 4550 has 38 horsepower out of the PTO. The 4540 has 41 horsepower, and the 4550 has 48 horsepower. So you have a 7 horsepower difference in the PTO and the engine. It's built on the same chassis, built on the same, all the parts are the same. The lifting capacity is about 30, just a tick over 3,500 pounds, I think it was, something like that. So if you want to spend the extra money for the 7 horsepower, for the 7 extra horsepower for the between the 4540 and the 4550, then go ahead and make that decision based on those 7 horsepower, because everything, well, there is one other difference. On the 4550, you have rear remotes that are standard, and they're optional on the 4540. And so if you're going to get a backhoe or some type of implement that uses rear remotes, then you might want to consider that as well. On the 4550, they're standard, not so much on the 4540. You can get them, it's just an optional feature. Both of them have an awesome warranty. The warranty is 2 years bumper to bumper for everything, and then 7 years, and this is January 2019. So the warranty is 2 years bumper to bumper, and then a 7-year powertrain warranty. And again, you have to use it in ag applications. Talk to your dealer about what the warranty specs are, and because that's pretty important. I personally have an awesome dealer. I can text him, I can call him, I can ask him all kind of questions. He doesn't mind responding. He's quick with his responses. So I think one of the things about a warranty is what kind of dealer did you buy it from? And if you bought it from an awesome dealer, then your warranty will be fine. So let's talk about some things that I like and some things that I don't like about my new Mahindra 4540. Some things I really like about this tractor since I've owned it, and I've had it for 60 hours now, or I've been driving it for 60 hours, about 2 months, 3 months. And I really like the power this thing has. I mean, this 41 horsepower engine, it muscles through everything I need it to muscle through. So I've been clearing brush, I've been picking up trees, I've been setting telephone posts. You can see a lot of my videos that I've got. I'll put a link to a playlist here. But Yeah, I do a lot of stuff with this thing, and I don't need anything bigger than 41 horsepower. I've got 75 acres that are somewhat wooded and somewhat cleared. So the application for a 41 horsepower tractor is exactly what I need. It is a four-wheel drive, so you can think about that. I got the R4 tires on them. So anyway, some things I really like about it is I like the power. The power is incredible. And so I don't know how much more power I would need if I got a 4550. You know, how much extra would 7 horsepower be for me? I don't know. Would it be worth the money? Debatable. So, but for my application so far, I'm really digging it. I'm also digging the dual clutch. All right, so what that means is I can put an implement like a brush hog on the back of it, and this clutch is 2 stages, so I can halfway depress it and still be able to change gears on it. On the 4540, it is like kind of the base model. It's kind of the stick shift model. So you can depress the clutch pedal halfway down and still leave the PTO engaged. So if I need to back up or if I need to go into first or second gear while I'm brush hogging, then the PTO will continue to spin. Now, if I depress the clutch pedal all the way down, the PTO will disengage and stop spinning. I will tell you this, it's a little tricky to get used to at first, you know, because you're so used to pushing that clutch pedal all the way to the floor. And so once you get used to it though, it's incredible. I love it. I love it. So the dual clutch is really, I like it. It's a good stand. Something else I really like about it is the fact that it does not have a DPF, a diesel particulate filter. You know, I don't have to add any fluids, any DEF fluids to the engine. You know, like a lot of those new diesel engines, you have to. I don't have to do any DPF maintenance, anything like that. This MCRD, I don't know if that sticker shows up, but MCRD is the design of the engine that they have that, you know, they've engineered this engine to run without that DPF, and you don't regen or anything like that. I love it. Doesn't cost me any extra to maintain this. Right now, I've got an auger hooked up to it, and I'll post a link to using this auger. I get my finger out of the way here. So yeah, it was the first time I ever used one, so it was kind of comical. I almost fell off a ladder. So go watch that video. But this is the 3-point hitch system is Cat 1 or Cat 2 capable. So I don't know if you can see this pin down here. Let's see if I can get my finger out of the way here. See this extra pin? Well, you take this link here and you can flip it. You can flip it upside backwards, I guess you'd say, and you can have access to a Cat 2 implement. And so I think that's really handy when I think about how am I going to start adding on to or augmenting my implement, the implements that I have here on the farm. So I have the capability to go to a Cat 2 implement because this tractor will support that. Again, if you notice back here, I don't have any rear remotes. So I didn't, you know, the 4540 is that option. I have the remotes on the front and the third function valve for my grapple that I have installed. But as far as the rear remotes, I don't have any rear remotes. If you get a 4550, then you can get the rear remotes. I do have the third function switch here, and that is connected to when I use my grapple here. Okay, everything can't be flowers and sunshine, right? I do like the tractor. It's, like I said, it's got a lot of power. It's got some accessories that I like, but there's some things I don't like about it. So let's go over some things that I don't particularly care for, and you know, maybe this will help you make a decision whether or not you should or should not buy a Mahindra tractor. So let's look at some of the things I don't particularly care too much for. All right, if you watched any Mahindra videos, you know the whole tractor is metal, right? So the hood, the fenders, everything is metal. But it almost gives you a false sense of security about how bad you can beat this thing up. Like when I first saw these little protective guards here in front of the axle, I thought, oh, that's a neat idea. But every time you run over a stump, they bend back. So let's see, they only, see if I can get it, see how they're bent right there? That's a flimsy piece of metal. So yeah, a novel idea, but not very sturdy. I don't like this so-called brush guard that they got here. Can you see the hole in my grill? That's because when I was pushing up, I almost said pushing up daisies. But anyway, as I was pushing brush, a stick went through there. So what I have to do now is I have to modify this. I have to modify this brush guard, and I'll put some slats on it, probably some expanded metal, and that would help that solve that problem. But you know, that's something I have to do aftermarket to protect the radiator and things like that inside the engine. So this is an aftermarket accessories for my grapple, the hoses that go on the front. This was super loose, so these bolts, or I shouldn't say bolts, these screws that hold the dash or the instrument cluster on, they came loose. What else came loose? I've already broke this piece of plastic here. Some other things came loose too. Oh, my bucket actually come off because this cotter pin came out. This pin came out, and my whole bucket shifted. It scared me to death because I've never had that happen before, and I was like, oh my God, what happened? And so it kind of scared me. But this little piece right here used to have a cover on top of it. It's no longer there. So I'm a little disappointed in how loose everything was when I got the tractor. So I wish they'd done a better job of tightening down everything from the factory. But I guess that's to be expected. On the 4540s and the 4500 series, you have to take this out. You have to take this grill off. You take these pins off here. The brush guard pulls forward, and then you have to unscrew the bolts on the grill to access your battery and your air filter. You know, other ones I think you just have to pull a pin. So that's something you have to think about. Also, the seat. It's a very comfortable seat. But look at the arm rest. See the arm rest? How it's weathered? And I keep it under in my pole barn, so it don't sit outside. So the seat is super comfortable, but the conditioning of the armrest didn't do all that great. So I'm just kind of wondering how that's going to hold up, if it's going to get a hole in it pretty soon. See my toolbox, huh? How about my light? Listen, I'll put a link in the video how I added some bling to it, you know. Everybody dresses up their tractor, you know. So those are some of the things I don't like. There's another thing I don't like about it too. So let me go ahead and mention that. So there's a couple more things before I tell you whether or not should you buy a Mahindra that I'll tell you. One, there's not a lot of online resources that I have found. So if you know of any, I know MahindraTractors.net or Mahindra Tractor Forums. There's a Facebook group that I'm involved in, Mahindra Tractor Owners USA, I think it's called. Anyway, Google, search for that on Facebook, Mahindra Tractors Owners USA. Man, those guys are legit, man. You talking about some 40-pound brains in the tractor business. They're a bunch of good dudes over there. So if you have a Mahindra or you're thinking about getting one, go log into that Facebook group and join and get to know these guys a little bit. Also, the Everything Attachments Facebook page. There's a bunch of good dudes, man. But anyway, I'm off track. Should you buy one? So you have to think about a couple more things that you need to think about before you make a decision. There's not a lot of online resources, and what you need to think about is, do you want a stick shift or a manual transmission? You know, if you're going back and forth constantly, you know, maybe if the job that you're going to use your tractor for requires you to go back and forth in short spurts and short distances, you might want to consider a shuttle shift or a hydrostatic transmission. It's going to cost you a little more, but you know, will the convenience be worth it of pulling, just shuttle shifting or using your feet to go back and forth with? I personally, you know, I pushed one I pushed one pile of brush one day, back and forth. And I thought, man, daggum, I wish I had a different transmission style, either a shuttle shift or a hydrostatic. But that's the only time I thought that. Other than that, I haven't thought that. So, you know, I tool around this place all the time. I'm brush hogging, or I'm picking up stuff, moving it from one place to the other, and hasn't thought. So, you know, to me, it's not that big of a deal for my application. But if you're going to have going back and forth in short distances, you might want to think about a different type of transmission, a shuttle shift or a hydrostatic. It's going to cost you more, but maybe it'd be worth it to you, you know. So recapping, I do like a lot of things about the Mahindra. There's a few things I don't like about the Mahindra. So it boils down to, should you or should you not buy a Mahindra tractor? The answer to that question is absolutely. I love my tractor. There's some pros, there's some cons, but the pros outweigh the cons. So I'm telling you, for the price, you can't beat the quality. You know, they're the #1 selling tractor in the world, and you can argue demographics or whatever to make their case. But still, I mean, they sell a lot of tractors, and they sell a lot of tractors because it's a good tractor. I've been very satisfied with it. Some of the things that are the cons, in my opinion, are things that I can overlook. You know, so when you go out to look for your tractor, you weigh your pros, weigh your cons, and see which tractor works best for you. I personally would recommend a Mahindra to you. There's going to be a picture of the barn pop up over here. Go ahead and click on that to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can go to Instagram and follow us at Hamiltonville Farm, and go to our Facebook page and like it at Hamiltonville Farm. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope it helps you make a decision about buying a Mahindra or not. So anyway, hey, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Click that subscribe button. Tell your friends about us, and we'll talk to you next time.